not forget exactly what we're talking about. Charles Murray. His book, The Bell Curve, promotes racism and classism as indicators for intellect. He practices eugenics. Let us not all forget that. This is what they're protecting at a university, at an institution of higher learning.
Yeah, but the cops only got a choice over who they protect.
They chose to protect them.
They don't have a choice.
Oh no, they did. When they signed up for this, they signed a contract.
What is essentially being promoted is a faith in views of inherited supremacy, paranoia about cultural degeneration, and resignation to predetermined inequality. And these are actively being used by systems of power over centuries. This is not something that is just controversial from an intellectual point of view. These are views that have received a great amount of legitimacy. And if these views are indeed controversial, it is the responsibility of the university to seek us out and make us part of the process. Did they reach out to activists on campus and ask us how we felt about this event?
Hey, my name's Aaron. I'm with a website called iroots.org. Okay. So tell me, if you don't mind, your name and what inspired you to come out here today.
Okay, my name's Alex, and I felt like coming out here today because my class was canceled for the speech.
That's violent.
I don't understand why Indiana University would bring a speaker to this campus that would require paying students to cancel their classes and would also make several students on campus feel unsafe.
And had you heard of this speaker before?
No, I hadn't. I feel like by bringing this speaker to campus, IU is elevating his agenda and his policies, which I admittedly am not too read on. But obviously, a lot of people are more than I am.
What is it that you have discovered about his policies or agenda?
Well, through reading about him, he's come off as sort of a Jewish supremacist, a white supremacist, and is quotes studies done by different KKK and other white nationalist groups across the country in his published books.
It's a little loud. Did you say he referenced published material by KKK members?
Yeah.
Do you know where? So where would he? So are these like KKK scientists or something that have done studies?
No, they aren't. They're studies that were funded by KKK members.
Okay. And where did you learn that?
I was just doing a speed read today. I don't remember exactly.
Do you remember any websites or anything where you can tell people to look up information?
Not off the top of my head.
What do you think that it is that people are seeing as so controversial? There's a lot of people handing out flyers against this man.
Oh, I think most of them haven't read what he's written. He has one chapter in one book that they'd find highly offensive, and that distracted from his main point so much that he's tried to avoid any discussion of race thereafter. He has other points that would offend them too, but they haven't read about those, I think, since they're complaining about the wrong things. So I think it's actually just, it's a cause, and it's a fun day. It's a nice day to be outside. Demonstrating's fun. You know, I do it sometimes. They're doing it now. So as long as they keep peaceful, it's okay, though I wish they'd use less obscene language.
So are you a professor here at IU?
Yes, I'm a professor in the business school. I should perhaps say also that I haven't ever met Murray, but 20 or so years ago, I offered to post the data for his book, The Bell Curve, on my website, so people could do their own regressions on it to try out the data.
Right.
So I've done that.
Now, I didn't know about Mr. Murray up until just a couple days ago because I heard it was controversial, so I looked up a little bit, and I saw a quote that said he was, quote, he referenced, quote, racist scientists. It may be on the Southern Poverty Law Center, what they wrote. Do you think there's anything sketchy about his sources for his data? Or do you know?
The data
you may not be aware.
No, the data is public government data that he uses for most of his books. Some things he collects himself. He has one very good book called Human Accomplishment, where he looks in places like art history books to find out how many mentions there are of different people and tries to figure out who the most influential artists and writers and scientists are over history, and then classify them by city and century and so forth. So that was an example of collecting his own data, but usually just uses official government data.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think he's actually one of the most important social thinkers of our time. So whatever he says is always interesting.
Right, and Any thoughts to students who would rather, burn? I saw a video of someone burning a ticket and just trying to either silence or not go. What do you have to say to a student like that who just doesn't want to hear his opinion?
Well, they're wanting to remain ignorant, which is a bad thing for a student.
And if we're talking about challenging Murray through counter-argument, then sloganeering, rallying is a form of counter-argument. For some people, these issues are, Murray's views are experienced as a violence. They are not experienced as a space in which we can flesh out our viewpoints and sit and intellectualize. When I was reading the discussions over this incident on Facebook, I came across someone saying that this was actually taught in a classroom in which she was present, and as a Latina woman to be told that she was just some exception and that people of her community were just meant to not do well. She said that she went back and cried about it and had never felt that shaken in her life. And these are the kind of viewpoints that are being promoted.
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
He dressed up as like a 50-year-old lady.
Let us not forget exactly what we're talking about Charles Murray. His book, The Bell Curve, promotes racism and classism as indicators for intellect. He practices eugenics. Let us not all forget that. This is what they're protecting at a university, at an institution of higher learning.
Yeah, but the cops only got a choice over who they protect.
They chose to protect them.
They don't have a choice.
Oh no, they did. When they signed up for this, they signed a contract.
I don't
This is
think-
part of their job.
Was it a sign up? Did you guys need to sign up?
The thing is, people of color don't get to take office, and you volunteer and you choose to be an officer.
Yeah, they get told.
You choose to be an officer. You don't choose to be black.
Yeah, no, they chose to be an officer and protect everybody.
They do something else.
Some do, some don't.
Related to that, I did hear someone say, like, look at these people here with guns. They are propping up this message that we hate. What would you have to say to them when they see you from that angle? They're like, oh, they built a wall and they won't let us. I don't know what they want to do, whether they want to shut it down or not.
What do they want to do? And we're trying to make sure that the people inside can do what they want to do. There's classes taking place in the building. There's a lecture going on. We're trying to make sure that people are able to do that, right? They have the freedom to do that. There's people that have the freedom to demonstrate. You can demonstrate out here and do that. So all we're trying to do is make sure everybody can do what they want to do and not just one group that's larger than another.
I don't want to get you into any political stuff. I know there's a quote that comes to mind. It's attributed to Voltaire. I don't think it is by him, but it's a French quote saying, I disagree with you, madam, but I would die for your right to say those terrible things, basically.
Right.
Yeah, have you ever heard that quote before?
I have.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that and how it applies?
And it kind of puts that's kind of what law enforcement, what the military do. I mean, we defend those rights. That's what we're here for.
I have a relative
They could choose different careers.
We still need cops. I have a good friend of mine who's a Latino and he's in there and he was a scientist. He doesn't believe in this guy, but he doesn't